Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at a relatively low-level unique known as the Manald Heal Ring. Manald Heal is only level 15, it's not very high, and it does have some really nice effects for level 15. Most notably is the really nice mana steal on this particular item. Now unfortunately Manald Heal does have quite a few variables on it, which can make finding one rather sad when the variables don't quite line up. But if you find a perfect Manald Heal, they're actually surprisingly useful on the level characters. Most notably is like I said, the 7% mana steal. Now that does vary between 4 to 7% mana steal. So you can find a pretty crappy 4% mana steal and a really nice high 7% mana steal. And the really cool thing about Manald Heals is you can stack two of them. So we'll be going over the double stats as well. So if I were to put two of these on, I would have 14% mana steal, whereas if I had some really crappy ones, it would only be 8% mana steal. So keep that in mind. We also have a bonus of 20 to life, which is static, and that also stacks when you put on two rings, so you would get a nice 40 bonus to life. And at level 15, 40 life is actually a lot. I think most characters will find that 40 life is actually a ton on level 15. It also has Replenish Life 5 to 8 on it. And Replenish Life 8 is actually a pretty nice amount for level 15. And I think that you will find that if you are a character who is in the thick of it a lot, then Replenish Life is going to come in handy. And if you stack two of these, again, you can have plus 16 Replenish Life, which is absolutely amazing. Plus 16 Replenish Life is a lot, and if you stack that with a Prayer Merc early on in Act 2, you can really get a nice effectiveness out of that regeneration. Now we also have Regenerate Mana 20%, which is static. And you can stack two of these relatively easily on a Sorceress. And this is actually something that you can do early on to help your Sorceress regain her mana a lot easier. I actually recommend two Manald Heals on Sorceresses early in any class that spends a ton of mana. And what you also want to do is you want to get items that will beef up your mana pool, because mana regeneration doesn't work very well by itself. The larger your mana pool, the faster the regeneration is. Let me give you an example here. Of course, I don't have any. I don't have any skill points. That would be nice if I had skill points. Silly a me. Of course, I've got no mana whatsoever and no skill points. Let me go to a character who actually does have some skill points, so I can show you. So let's go to Talrash's set, shall we? So this particular character has a massive amount of regeneration and a massive amount of mana. And it is actually next to impossible to actually reduce her mana by any significant portion. If I walk outside of town here and I put on the maximum faster cast that I can possibly put on for this character, and I utilize the highest mana cost skill that I currently have, which for some reason I am out of mana. I'm pretty sure it's enchant, if I remember correctly. Has a mana cost of 50 per cast. That's right. So if I were to grab enchant and literally just spam enchant, you will notice that I cannot reduce my mana. Once your mana gets to a certain point and your regeneration is at a certain point, the regeneration rate of your mana is actually so ridiculously fast that even spamming a 50 mana skill with maximum faster cast will not reduce the amount of mana that you have. So this is important when we're talking about the Manald Heal, because the Manald Heal is specifically 20% extra regeneration, which is absolutely amazing. And if you stack two of them, you get 40%. And if you stack your mana as well along with it, you will get a rather large amount of regeneration, which will make it next to impossible for you to completely eliminate your mana. Now, the problem with this is at level 15, you're probably not going to find a lot of equipment that has plus to mana on it. So, you know, whatever equipment that you do have that has plus to mana, like for instance, Frosties would be nice. If you can get your hands on any pieces of equipment that have plus to maximum mana, like for instance, believe it or not, a the Stone of Jordan ring will also increase your maximum mana quite considerably. As you can see, I go up from 8,000 to 10,000. And I know, please don't, every single time I bring this character on the screen, you guys make fun of my 8,000 mana. She's cheated in. She's a cheated in single player character, specific for the purposes of testing. So don't hate me too much there. And we're just gonna have fun with it. So Manald Heal Ring is perfectly set up for an Act 2 character who's just gotten to Act 2 normal difficulty. So you talk to Wareve, you travel to the east, always east. You find yourself in Act 2. Probably you complete the sewers, and by the time you complete the sewers and you kill Radamant, usually you're level 15. And this is the perfect level for you to put on your Manald heals. Either 1 or 2. Usually I'll put on 2 because the Replenish Life, the plus regeneration mana, the 7% mana steal, all of it together just makes for an absolutely amazing setup. And granted, there are some more interesting rings that you could be putting on at this particular level. Like for instance, if you are a extremely high attack rating melee character, you could always put on the angelic wings and the 2 angelic halos, which is a pretty nice combination. But if you're a very mana intensive character, these can be a very nice combination for you too. And you happen to have 2 of them laying around that are in really good shape, I think you will really enjoy the 14% mana steal, the 40 to life, the 16 replenish life, and the 40% mana regeneration, all of which are very nice. Now do keep in mind that the regenerate mana is going to be absolutely useless on a character who has no mana. So if you were like a paladin or a barbarian and you only got like 10 mana to your name, it's not going to be very effective to you. And as your character levels up, they do get more mana each level, which is also going to be helpful for these rings. So as you level up, the regeneration mana effect will actually become more and more viable. And where can you find this particular item? Let's go over to Silos Pen and we'll take a look at the Manald Heal. And we're going to see what bosses. Let's look at bosses. Have the highest probability of dropping Manald Heal. So Nightmare difficulty Andariel has a 1 in 255 chance. Hell difficulty Andariel has a 1 in 428 chance, which is not bad at all. Normal Diablo has a 1 in 448 chance. Duriel's terrible to farm. I'm not even going to mention his name. Mephisto, 1 in 685th chance in normal difficulty. So it does drop fairly often in normal difficulty, but I do notice that Nightmare and Duriel has the highest chance there. And that's not uncommon because Nightmare and Duriel does have a really high drop chance for a lot of rings, Manald Heal being one of them. And you will find that a lot of people will find a Manald Heal, and they will drop it back on the ground. And it's not because Manald Heal is a bad ring. It's because when a unique ring drops, like 9 times out of 10, it's a Manald Heal or a Nagel ring. And usually people will have so many of these laying around, they will keep the good ones. They'll keep the ones that are nearly perfect or perfect, and then we'll drop the other ones back on the ground. And do keep in mind that although the non-perfect ones are not great for melee characters, even the non-perfect ones still have 20% regenerate mana. So the non-perfect ones are still good to put on a like a sorceress or a fire druid or a hurricane druid or something like that to get you the extra mana that you need. Or maybe you're a corpse explosion spamming necromancer or a bone spear necromancer. Could be good for you as well. The only real problem with these rings on a caster class is, of course, that you don't get your faster cast rate, which can be an issue. But, if you are on the border between I don't have enough mana to cast my spells and having these rings on will give me enough mana to cast my spells, it might be worth it. Of course, you can also combine these with other regeneration items like Mage Fists. Mage Fists have pretty good regeneration on them. You can also put on, like I said, 2 of these for 40%. There are also other items that have regeneration on them, like, for instance, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There's so many different ones, but they're kind of odd items. And I'm completely drawing a blank. A Lenumo sash. There you go. Do I have a Lenumo sash laying around? I do not. Boo. Lenumo sash is also a low-level item. It has regeneration on it, and it's one that I've done a video on if you'd like to take a look at it. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.